Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of Mayhem and Masterplans. I'm very happy to be back with my dear colleagues, friends, uh, Andreas and Simon. Hello. Nice to meet you again in this podcast studio.
Nice to see you again as well. Podcast studios are a good topic for us, aren't they?
Podcast studios are a good topic. Yeah. So how's everybody doing?
We do them very well, both in software and in real life.
Yeah. So what Andreas is referring to, if you haven't heard it from your local news outlets or national TV, we opened a podcast studio in Berlin, right at Kurfürstendamm 229 in Berlin. Check it out. We're open for bookings. So oh my God.
If you are in Berlin.
If you're in Berlin, feel free to come by. Yeah. So I hope everybody's doing well.
I've had my fair share of fights with German bureaucracy again today, as usual in the last couple of months. But otherwise, I'm doing well. Yes.
Yeah. Well. Welcome back to Germany. So you yeah.
How long will you stay, by the way?
This time until April 16th.
Oh, so another 2.5 weeks.
Yes, that means we got to put out now that we're talking about dates, we got to put out the episode on time, Max.
Exactly. We will. So yeah, what I would love to talk about, if you don't have a topic you have specifically that you want to cover today, I want to talk about, with everything going on in the world right now, and starting a company, having a company, getting in new projects in that business world that seems to be struggling. What you can do as a company, as a founder, as a manager, to kind of like survive this and still be positive and still, kind of like move your business forward, where everything kind of seems like everything is difficult to move forward. Because the funny thing is, we started this company in 2021, so right in the pandemic, and I always remember, like, every 1, 2, 3 years, I say like, oh, this is all so difficult, and then Simon is like, this is just a phase, and it's gonna get better. And it seems like in the last 5 years, nothing has gotten better.
Oh,
like
come on.
Not for us. I don't mean for us, but the external circumstances. So Simon is always kind of like making out that there is a brighter future ahead of us, because industry is turning around, bureaucracy is getting better, life in general is getting a bit easier. So we're looking back at like the 2010s, where business was booming, and I'm a pessimist in that category, and I think like it's not getting better. I think it's crazy, and I'm fine with that. But in that world, you still need to find a way to move your business into a positive direction, and that's what we're doing, and I'm happy about that. But what are your thoughts on this? First, like my hypotheses on, like, is it ever going to get better? Like, is like, from a business perspective, like, are we going to move into an age where it's like, or into a decade where it's all going to be like easy breezy again for European or US companies?
I expect that, to be honest. I expect that. I think now it's a down phase, right? And where things are reorganizing in the world, in business, in politics, and I think it's a big shake up, I would say, or like the German ex-chancellor said, Zeitenwende. But I think if there will come a point in time where everyone has figured out his role and his standing, and then I think from there, the Western world, let's say, will be advancing again and thriving. So how Andreas is is saying. I would say that, and yeah. So, and I'm really looking forward um, to that times, because I think it's also a good school starting a business and surviving as a business in such tough times. And yeah, I think if we have figured out everything, then I think there will be really fruitful times ahead of us.
I agree. You know me as a purveyor of fine, optimistic capitalism theories and ideas. I see it the same way. I think we're definitely in you call it a downward phase right now. You see it pessimistic. Max, I mean, it is mayhem, largely induced by the U.S. and its current leadership, to be frank. But I think it's going to be temporary, right? There will be a phase where this is going to be behind us. Other kinds of leadership in the US will come in. Other countries may also fill voids that the US is leaving right now. Even Europe might get their act together and do certain things collectively rather than individually. Maybe, perhaps, possibly. We're not sure yet, but but I think I agree that if you start and manage to actually get liftoff with your business in a tough time, then you're definitely in better shape than those who have only known easy days, right? And to be fair, I mean, there were definitely times when companies had larger budgets and had less control, and it was easier to just land a B2B client than it is right now. But I don't think it was ever easy breezy, quite as you made it sound, Max. I don't think you just had to, right?
I think the
real business was never like the crypto gold rush, where you just had to spin up something, call it blockchain, and people would pour money into it, hoping that this thing would rise and the other things not. So I think for real businesses, it was always a question of delivering value, of making sure that people liked their product, and that it was, if it's a B2C product, perhaps sticky. If it's a B2B product, if it's just defensible, frankly. And yeah, like I said, provides value, whatever that is for the customer. I think the time that we're in right now, it shows that people, they take longer to make a decision to get something new, or there's a lot of people in a lot of corporations who are very defensive about spending, about adding new things, about expanding anywhere. They're kind of contracting and trying to make sure that everything just stays running, try to optimize operationally internally, and don't really try to branch out anywhere. And that, makes it sometimes a little tough for a company like ours that is offering something new. But those who sign up with us, those who work with us, they love it. So I think we're on a good path. And times will get better.
To a certain extent. Like I'm a friend of if your business is not like very much dependent on those like hype phases, where it's I used to work with a cosmetics company, and they are very unfazed by upturns or downturns. So like in the pandemic, when e-commerce was booming, they didn't move like crazy, but they didn't also go down as crazy as other brands did. So they kind of like stayed in the middle, and I would feel it's this very same for us. Like we're not moving fast, we're moving consistently forward with customers. Like we have high customer retention rates, but yeah, so I think that is definitely true, and I think not 100% sure how those like growth phases and recession phases are going to hit us. Because interestingly enough, if you look at the unemployment and recession phases in the US, so there was one like the 10% unemployment rate was like 82. Then you had a peak with like in 92. Then you had a smaller peak in 2003, and then it moved back up to like 2010, and it would have been probably a similar take on 2020, but then COVID hit, so that spiked quite a bit. But so in 2030, you're going to have the next spike, and then we're going to have like an upward phase again. So I'm not even 100% sure that, and for Germany, if you look at the numbers, they're very difficult to see because I think we're in the moment of like increasing unemployment, increasing recession. So we're not having, I don't think we have hit the peak of like that downward phase yet. And then to hitting really that upward phase, it's probably going to be another 5 to 6 years. So that's at least kind of need to prepare for what are we going to do in the meantime until that moment comes, right? To me, it's like, and maybe that helps us that at least 2 of the 3 people in this podcast are or trying to be surfers, and I think hitting the wave at the right time means being prepared to kind of like when's the right time to like wait out a session, wait out kind of like a swell, and then hitting that right spot to really ride the wave, because it doesn't really help you to be like too like overexcited or to kind of like paddle in too early or wait too long. So I think that kind of there's a comparison there.
I think you're right. I think there's a good comparison. It's a good analogy, but there's another one in that. If you end up hitting the wrong one or going a little bit too soon, there's going to be another one. It's not going to
exactly.
wash you ashore and leave you dry.
100%.
So,
and then
more optimism, sir. More optimism.
No, like to me, like in that phase, really, like I'm very optimistic for what we do, and AI is helping us so much to kind of like build a robust and resilient organization, to kind of like be prepared for whatever comes. If it's going up, because in the end, if it's going up, down, sideways, nobody really knows, right? So you kind of need to build a business that, regardless of where it's going, you are prepared for that. And I think that is a great learning of building an organization in those, like everybody talking now about like a VUCA world, where everything is uncertain and all that kind of stuff. I think AI and the lean organization really, really helps you to be prepared for anything that comes, to scale fast, to have like a network of freelancers and partners that you can quickly scale if you need to, but also stay lean and mean in the meantime. And I think that is really helpful. And are you like, because I was thinking about being a startup, that was another thing. Do you know what the average life cycle or like the average lifetime of an S&P 500 company is?
I think it's 50 years, I guess.
That's it?
Oh, yeah. It used to be 61 years in 1958.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 18 years.
18.
Okay. But that's because a lot of young companies have pushed into the Standards & Poor 500, and they just haven't existed yet as long. Or is it because a lot of them have gone sideways?
Well, we all know that out of the, what is it, the S&P 500, is there only like, or was it the original NASDAQ or Dow Jones or whatever, there's only one company left?
Dow Jones is industrial heavy index, right?
Right.
So I think there's only GE left, and the rest is gone, right? So
Yeah, but it's again, you'd have to really dig into that. Is it because companies have gone under? Is it because companies have technically ceased to exist because they've merged with others or something like that? That too, factors in. So depending on how this is actually being counted and calculated, nevertheless, I think the point stands that longevity is not a given anymore, as it used to be, either because you're being pushed aside by younger startups out of such an index, or because you actually go under.
yeah. So
The
so what
question
like
is,
what
how do a
would be your
company prepare uh, for crisis, right? Like this, or how to get through
So
all the different crises we already experienced in our 5 years.
so I've worked for a couple of companies, in crisis prone categories such as media, and the media was riding a huge, nice wave for a long, long time, right? They were milking the ad business. They had money up and down. They spent it on a lot of people, and a lot of, frankly, unnecessary little bits and bobs and perks. And so when you look at that, how do you prepare for a potential or oncoming crisis? I mean, it's a mix of really knowing your business and knowing what is superfluous and what is core to it, either to your identity as a company or to the product you're offering or such a thing, so that if you're forced to perhaps lighten the footprint, to perhaps shed a few employees or something like that, or entire divisions and product lines, that you actually have a good understanding. I think that is something that a lot of companies, they collect a ton of data, but they don't really have a good understanding of what's in that data. They don't really know, the information that's swimming in their data lake, or whatever the current cool name for databases is. But I think having a good grasp of your business and your company is, I mean, it sounds so simple, but every large company at some point acquires others, branches out, tries new things, and it grows. And you have to keep an overview of that and have to have an understanding of, what is the identity, what is the core of your business. That's the one thing. The other thing is that you also have to strike the right balance, I think, between just employee protections, be it through unions and contracts on the one hand, but also the ability to move swiftly and move quickly as a company if you choose to do so. And how you find that right balance, I think, varies from the society that you operate in. So, in Europe, that looks different than perhaps in the US, for example. And I think that too probably is a little different in a variety of market categories and industries, for that matter. So, for example, you can probably reskill an office-bound workforce to some extent into something else office-bound, whereas reskilling your, I don't know, aircraft mechanic into a coder is probably harder, I imagine, So it comes down to having a good grasp of what's going on and what's oncoming. And then the other thing is, and that is something that I saw, one of my previous employers, Getty Images, did that really well. They launched new products when a lot of, and technology products, frankly, when a lot of competitors were nowhere near that. But they also looked at really big picture clients and locking in clients into long-standing contracts, and allowing them, for example, a large publishing house, to have a very simple one-stop shop for everything that they needed, and Getty Images then abstracted away all the nitty-gritty of acquiring the videos and the photos and these other photos and this other stuff and audio and whatever else there was. And so these companies didn't have to deal with that. They just had one contract that ran for 3 or 5 years, and they just needed to sign that and then stick with it. And so building a product portfolio that can allow your customers to have a simpler life, and to then be happy to be locked in for a time period, is also a really nice long-term play that you can make, in B2B especially, because nobody wants to have ongoing every year changes to everything, right? They want consistency. They want reliability. If you want to launch a product, be it a magazine off the back of a photo agency, or maybe a new car off the back of a I don't know, a braking system or a new tire system or something, you have to rely that that's going to be around for quite a while. So longevity can really help you with that, and that goes both ways.
So yeah, that was the very business consultant answer for that.
I'm sorry.
It was a very, this is how you could run this playbook. But now, since we're already on that topic, imagine you're a consultant with a big consulting firm, and we hire you as Hypecast, and we say so we're 5 years old. We're still in our infancy, trying to become a big company, but our target is to build a multi-million-dollar business in that space that we're in. Forget the last part. Just think we want to build a multi-million-dollar business. And now you did your research. You know the company. What? And I want to start with you, Simon. What would be your take as an external person looking in? What would be your idea of hey, this is the next steps. This is what you should do to really build Hypecast into a big business, or sell it to cash out and make that multi-million-dollar deal. So what would be your? And I don't want to get. I want to get the
as an external business consultant.
Yeah,
I would say
actionable.
Yes. Very. I can make very actionable. Was it?
Suggestions.
Exactly. For example, PLG, product-led growth, to a certain extent. So it does not mean, since we have enterprise and corporate software, it does not mean that we will have multiple signups each day, right? But product-led growth for us means we need a product which would theoretically enable product-led growth, right? So we still have this sales cycle 10 to 18 months, but I think product-led growth has a lot of requirements for a product, right? Self sign up, provisioning, automatic provisioning, slick UX and UI, and so on, right? And that helps you in all other areas, in software and sales process as well. So that's definitely something I would suggest as a consultant. And yeah, then everything doing. I think we are now, or we spent the last 5 years on understanding our customers and our market and our niche, and also the competitive landscape, and also how to run a company, blah, blah, blah. And I think now we need to do things that scale, right? Like, converting or adapting our product. So that would be enable product-led growth. Also, doing online marketing stuff, right? We tried it several times in the past, but I think not with 100% dedication, because we thought, okay, it's not our product is not right there, and let's try something different. I think now we need to do things at scale. So the Silicon Valley lesson number one, I think, is to start a company, do things that doesn't scale. And now, as we are now on a good way, we need to do things that scale.
But what, like, do things that scale is kind of like as generic as it can get. What are things that scale?
Online
Well,
marketing.
he's a highly paid consultant from a big consulting firm. What do you
Exactly.
expect?
No, as I explained it first. So adapting our product and converting our product into a product-led sales product, and do an online marketing, right? I think that's the two leverages
Okay.
we still have.
I would take that suggestion and adjust it a little bit. I think the instinct is not wrong. I think the idea to take from the playbook of product-led growth, which is a variety of things, but first and foremost, it is a product that people like to use, that has slick UI UX, that kind of thing. It works well, it feels good, the typical stuff that every consumer wants from their product, whatever that is, or every user. I think the ability to offer things like self-sign-up, self-provisioning, that kind of thing, of course, that is a scaling question, because if you do have the inbound flow, and then if you spend half your day just clicking and provisioning things, that's not scalable. That's not a good idea, right? But I don't think that that Hypecast as a B2B software business should truly pursue product-led growth in all its extents, because part of that is often what is nicely called a network effect, but really means that in a way you're making product decisions that might not be perfectly right for just the user, but you're always thinking about, how can I lock in somebody else who's also using this? How can I drag them into this boat as well? Or into this net, rather. And that rarely serves the actual customer and user of the product. In some rare instances, if you're building like a social network, if you're building something that is, includes a lot of people that are interchanging ideas and things on it, sure. But if you're building a product, it doesn't matter if company A has Hypecast for company B to make the decision to buy Hypecast. There shouldn't, this whole Slack Connect is a great example of, that's great when it works, but they built that for product-led growth, and it doesn't work for that. It's a nice feature, but it really wasn't necessary. And I think, so I'd like to just moderate that idea, or kind of couch it in a couple of details. But broadly speaking, my answer to your question would be, just kind of follow the very simplistic playbook that you, for example, saw early years Tesla, right? They built a great thing. They took the money from that, built a less expensive great thing for more people, and so on. And the idea to take what we're making with our current customers and reinvest it in expansion and in working for more customers and expanding our sales footprint or sales efforts, I think is a very organic, very, very befitting the company and its spirit.
All right. As
Your take.
I was listening to you guys, I was asking my co-work assistant
Your new
to
buddy
write me up
Claude.
my new buddy Claude to write a terrible name, by the way, terrible name.
Claude? Oh,
Everything like Anthropic is not a great name. Claude Code is terrible. It's all just the naming is just off.
I call him Trouble.
Maybe they ask an
An AI to rate name
an
it.
tool, for naming.
All right, so but what it does, like it gave me a great, like I told him to be like, hey, you're a strategic business consultant, do some research, suggest an actionable plan. We want to grow into a multi-million-dollar business within the next 10 years. So phase one to make it to the next level is really double down on customer success. So with the headline, make every logo a reference. So the good customers that we have, work on building the stories around them. And I think that's a very valuable point. And we kind of started with that to kind of like go through the customer list from like Samsung, Eon, McDonald's, all those companies that we work with, and really show the cases, with, how many podcasts do they have? How many minutes listened do they have? So I think that is something really valuable. And then pick one vertical, go deep into HR or internal communications or learning and development. I think we're doing that at the moment. We're kind of like doubling down on internal comms. And then fix the pricing model per seat, users tiers. Okay, I think we do have a good pricing model, but it's just like what they asked for. And we kind of reworked it this year. It's a good plan. So we're on the right track, and now we need to kind of like grow on that. So two things down. One, like double down on your customer success and building those references and stories. I think that is something we're still lacking. Next phase, scale the platform. So channel partners, HR agencies, integrators. I think we do have that. I think we need to, and that's what we kind of discussed for like the expansion. Ship AI features. Yeah, cool. Enter one new market, UK or DACH expansion. For those that don't know, DACH expansion, that would be Germany, Austria, Switzerland, GSA.
Through the roof.
Through the roof. Enterprise integrations, HRIS, LMS, intranet solutions. Okay, we do have those, which is great. So we do have a few things from the second bucket. And then they say, raise a seed or Series A round. Well, I would say no to that. But,
If a good strategic investor with money and smarts comes our way.
And just give us money and let us do what we want. And
No.
I'm okay with it.
No. With money and smarts comes our way. We'll entertain the conversation and we'll see. But I don't want to spend time on chasing them.
Yeah, exactly. It's a waste of time. And then the other bucket, which is interesting, inbound engine. Podcast benchmark reports. So building kind of like a white paper or kind of like a report that people can use as a benchmark within the industry, which we're doing partly with our Echo Shift communication survey, where we ask a ton of stuff, like a year-round survey on internal comms and building something on that. So I think that's a good thing. So, and then phase 3 mentioning here is content marketplace. Audio templates or creators that you in the platform buy content, which I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that was a very, very, very early stage idea that we had. Simon, I don't know if you remember building kind of like the LinkedIn for.
So it was in our pitch deck, right, for the seed round or for the it Series A round back then?
No, it was kind of like the angel pre-seed, whatever.
Angel pre-seed.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe at some point it's coming back, but we had an idea for that, how you can sell things like that, or stories or learning things, whatever. Second part for phase 3 is M&A or partnership investment. bold and adjacent tools. No, that's our M&A move. So bold on adjacent tools. So we should then, and multi-market at scale, US, APAC, LATAM outreach is kind of like what is suggested here in phase 3.
It feels like your buddy Claude has listened in on a lot of our conversations. I mean, frankly,
either
a lot of
either that,
or it's that obvious, or we're just that smart.
Well, I think that might be something like the ideas again are similar, which I think is good to kind of do those exercises every now and then to see like, hey, is challenge your ideas that you have with that and kind of see where that is going. You might be surprised with a few smaller things like the references and building that out. I think that is a good opportunity, and then there's stuff where we'd probably be like, okay, might not matter, but yeah.
Well, this was a very inside baseball Mayhem and Masterplans. Frankly,
it
a
was
lot more master plan than Mayhem. I expect more chaos.
Exactly. No microphone fails, no mishappenings on the way. Yeah, I think like
I couldn't even
surviving
vent about
in business.
Misgivings.
Like, I think what is great, again, bringing that back to like having a positive outlook on on what you're doing is important. It does, and I think like that is always to me like in the last few weeks very interesting, where I feel like overall it kind of looks like the situation isn't changing that much. It seems like it's becoming more difficult, more complicated. People are more upset. And at the same time, I feel more positive about what we're doing. So it kind of like it's completely detached from from the rest of the world, where it feels like, well, maybe that's a good thing that you just focus on your own thing and just forget about what the rest is doing.
Sort of to some extent, absolutely, that's true. I think that's the thing. If you know where you're going, if you know what you want to build or what you want to create or add to the world of business, the world of your customers, then it is a really good idea to tune out a lot of the noise that's out there and just focus on that. You'll be happier, your customers will be happier, and your business will be thriving.
I think that the other side of that medallion is that you lose kind of like an outside view of like what is happening in the world. I think you need to kind of keep that in to not get like completely blindsided by your own thing. So yeah, that's a good thing. I think the second thing is like having those AI agents on your side, and I think in the last couple of weeks we started working with Claude, really integrating into our organization and running this kind of like plan, this like 10-year plan through like in a short period of time. I would assume that the result of a good consultant might be to an extent maybe a bit more insightful, maybe, but I think like a mid-level consultant would come up with the same kind of like plan. So having those tools by your side and learning to use them correctly for what you want to use them for, and where they can help you, like where they really can help you, where they can close the gaps to, like every now and then I feel like I'm trying to figure something out. And then like I spend a lot of time on something where I feel like, why am I even trying this? Like to figure this out, because it's not my core business. It's not helping me. It's a very administrative work that just needs to get moved out of the way. And then I remember, I have this amazing machine that I can use to kind of like, I think you can get to the point where you try to put everything in there and feel like, it's doing my work.
But I think that's the thing, right? You have to have agency in order to use agents efficiently and wisely. You have to understand what you're asking it. You have to be theoretically at least able to do that yourself. And it's just helping you accelerate things, do more at the same time, try out more ideas than you could possibly do by yourself in this single day or single hour. For that, it's great. I think if you're asking it things that you have no understanding of, that is completely out of your wheelhouse, and then take it at face value and don't question it, I think that's running quite the risk. And I would suggest nobody run their business that way. But yeah, it's a great accelerator for the things you already have a grasp of. And that doesn't mean that you can't also use it to learn new things or to get new ideas or something, right? That's not what I meant. But I think finding that right balance and really understanding where you have agency and where you yourself have a little bit of understanding of things versus not, it's always helpful to be honest with yourself.
Yeah. That's so yeah, having that by your side helps you to build a very robust and lean organization where you can like double or triple the good employees that you have. So resources aren't the problem anymore in an organization. I think there's really like in the end the soft factors like resilience, being able to innovate, like a lot of soft factors are gonna separate you, like the good from the great companies or startups that know how to kind of like use human capital in that sense in the best way possible, and utilize that when you build the robust organization, be resilient, and kind of like
It comes down to smart leaderships. It always does. It has
yeah, I think it's
100
smart
years ago.
people.
It has 150
I
years
think
ago.
sometimes a good organization can be run by good people where it's independent from the leadership. I think that's maybe
Yeah, but
That's
only
maybe
for a
let's
time,
let's
right?
table that for
yeah. Let's table
another
that and have a
Mayhem and
discussion on that. If
Masterplans.
is a good organization run by good leadership, or is a good organization run by good people? That brings back then.
That's a nice
And we can
topic.
discuss that in the next episode.
Yes.
Did Germany win the World Cup in 2014 because of the coach or despite the coach? That's the big question.
We'll wrap it up right here.
Exactly.
This is the
So
end.
last
No more.
songs, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Name your songs.
I'm
I
starting.
have a very generic one, I guess. I
Oh,
cannot
yes,
remember.
It's so generic you can't remember?
It's DKY, but I think it's not that DKY. It's Muddy.
None
Muddy.
of these words mean anything to me.
Yeah, I was the same. I'm like,
It's CKY, right? It's CKY.
CKY.
The punk rock song, it's punk rock band is CKY.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I heard to DKY.
What? What are you listening to? Name the band and the song.
D
Hello?
K Y.
Is the band?
With the song Muddy.
Okay. Thank you so much.
One of my
Andreas.
favorite bands has released a new album, Lamb of God, and the top song in my rotation right now is Into Oblivion.
Perfect. And interestingly enough, I don't know if you guys still remember the band Boys Set Fire.
Yes.
The lead singer Nathan Gray now is Natasha Gray. Came out as pansexual, bi, trans a couple of years ago, and he's now the singer of
She
exactly. Sorry, she's now the singer of a band called the Iron Roses, which is making great songs, and it's it was a wild story. Like I just read about it today, and I kind of like because I wanted to know what Boys as Fire are doing, and they were like, oh, he left the band, and then oh, he's a she, and she's singing in that band, and it was like it's really a wild transformation, and especially within like the punk and hardcore music community, it's a very interesting story to look at. I can definitely recommend, and I can definitely recommend their songs because their songs are really fun, great songs. And the song I listened to, I have to look it up. I'm so sorry. Hang on. It is called From All That Story. I forgot the name because I listened to a few of their songs, and I forgot the Iron Roses, and their song is called, that I really liked, Screaming for a Change.
All right. Links to everything. Put them in the show notes. We'll click on them.
Enjoy. Happy podcast day to everybody. Huh?
Yes. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter
to all those
exactly.
celebrating Easter. I hope the Easter bunny is not, messing with you. So that's the end of Mayhem Masterplans for this week. We're back. New episodes are coming more frequently now.
More frequently than recently, yes.
Yes, but good, as you say in German, gut Ding will Weile haben. So let's close with that. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.